Hey, what's up? What's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? What's up, world? We are on the Doctor of Love. But right now, we're gonna let a little Joe Levy jam for you right now. This is my boy from the neighborhood. He is number one on chart as we speak. Someone's gonna have him out here. Tell him, Joe. I often wonder if you're magic. When you come around, I can't help myself. Those things you do got me addicted. I don't want no your ways really fresh and lovely. May I have a taste of your sweet love? More you give, the more I'm rolling. I just can't get enough. No baby, number one on the charts. I always say nothing, baby. You take me to a very special place. Inside of your love, baby. Hey, all right. Strength and so much more. Inside of your love. All right, welcome y'all to the Doctor of Love every Tuesday night.
Your sound,
It went back out.
it went down on us before you. It was after you turn your music on, it changed.
You know,
Your voice.
my home system can't do the same thing. You know, two things at one time. How about now? Is it all right now?
It's better now. Yes.
Okay. Welcome y'all to the Doctor of Love every Friday night from 7 to 8 p.m. And I have two beautiful ladies and a handsome young man is joining me tonight, and we're gonna talk about love and relationship. All right, my guest, can you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell them who you are and what you do?
Who's first?
Who's first?
You want us to go first? Absolutely. Go ahead, baby. You do that.
Well, good evening, everybody. We're happy to be here with you. Doctor of Love, what up there, boy?
What's up? I'm gonna get into you in a minute, boy.
Everybody, my name is Ray McElroy. This is my beautiful wife, Michelle. We've been married for 26 years, college sweethearts, and we are honored to be on the call tonight with the Doctor of Love himself.
Doctor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Michelle, give us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I am a marriage coach. I obviously have, I shouldn't say obviously, I have a degree in counseling and switched over to the coaching business so I could work with my clients where they were or where they are and get them to where they want to be. So I'm a marriage coach, loving it.
What city are you guys in?
We're in Chicago.
Chi-town. I think we're closing on a home right now in Chicago. We got to buy some more properties here in San Diego. Yeah.
Ooh,
So,
right.
Beautiful Linda, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell them where they can find you.
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone, especially all of you on the West Coast where it's still sunny, I think. As you know, I'm Linda Streeter, and I have been on the show many, many times. I am a marriage and family therapist. I am a family mediator, lots of conflict resolution. And I'm a life coach, behavior coach, and relationship coach. And I'm an author. I've written a couple of books. One is called The Art of Manifesting Love. And the second one that was just released this year is The Power of Conflict. And this one deals with conflict in relationship as opposed to splitting up. Let's talk about how we resolve issues. We need to do more of that, especially having worked in family court and at the number of divorces that we go through. So we see over small things, things that we can really resolve. And that's pretty much it. I can be found at lindahartstreeter.com. My website is currently under some new constructions, but there's contact information there. LindaHartstreeter.com. And I'm also on Facebook if you want to join me there. I can send your invitation to join the group, which is called Love and Relationship Matters with Linda, what you see on the screen there.
All right. Hey, before we jump into it, hey, I want to tell y'all, Ray happened to be one of my Hall of Famers. Go ahead and tell them who you played with.
I played for the Indianapolis Colts. I was drafted by them. Played for them for 4 years. Played for the Chicago Bears, my hometown team. That was awesome.
Woo-woo.
Then also played for the Detroit Lions for a season. So played 6 seasons in the NFL. It was a real thrill to, of course, play for my hometown team. And then I had an opportunity to spend 5 years as Chicago Bears team chaplain. And so that was a real thrill. And so, being in the chaplaincy space is kind of where some of the stuff that we're working on kind of came from, working with players and working with couples and keeping marriages together under the strain and the pressure of the National Football League, as you well know, Dr. Love, relationships together in that space.
26, baby, 26.
Yeah.
We got 26.
Congratulations. That's what's
Congratulations. Yeah, we need more of that.
26 is hard, and we're going to talk about that tonight because it's a job. But another thing is Ray happens to sing in the NFL Players Choir. He will not be joining us this weekend. We'll be performing in Pasadena at what's the name? America's Got Talent.
Yeah,
he's another first tenor. We really needed him, man. They got me calling active players there right now. So I'm trying to get a lot of people out there right now. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Tonight's topic, Linda.
Yeah. Oh, you know what?
Love.
I don't have.
Okay, it's love. We're gonna talk about love.
And the topic today, and as you saw in the post, is that we're talking about love tonight and the differences between how a man expresses love versus a woman expresses love. And because I'm curious to know too, I get input as to why women tend to feel unloved in a relationship. That's what I hear, underappreciated. And then I hear men who make the same comments about feeling unloved and unappreciated. So does that have to do with male and female gender in terms of expression? Are there any common denominators there? What do you all think? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, common denominators. Go ahead, Dr. Love. Go ahead.
No, because man, my thing is, I came up with this topic because it's the conversations between couples, between women. Like if you have a conversation and somebody's listening, 2 other people get 2 different outcomes of that same conversation. So we're never going to be able to be on the same page if we don't know the meaning of certain words. Like when I say I love you. And when I was growing up, I would say I love you to a young lady. I love you means I care about you and I want to be with you. I want to hang with you. It can mean a lot to guys, but to me, to women, it means I want to marry you. I want to have kids. They start building a future from that one word. But until we come together and agree what love really means, then we're never going to make it. So this wonderful couple right here has made it for how many years again? 24?
26 years.
26 years married.
26.
30 years.
And look, and they're still smiling and sitting all under each other. It speaks volumes.
Under each other.
I look for that. I always look at interaction. I'm an observer, interaction of couples. You've been married 15, 10, 20 years. But,
26.
And that's another thing when you talk about love, love is so obvious because one thing for sure I do know, when love happens with us, we know what it feels like. Because it feels good. It empowers you. It makes you feel lighter. People tell you like, you're glowing, you're awfully happy today. It just shows up. Yeah. I'm going to let you guys talk.
Well, the first thing I think about when we talk about this is some of the things that Michelle and I discuss in our premarital counseling. one of the things that we try to help couples make sure of, and the other thing that I did not mention is that I'm in the ministry. I'm a pastor. And so I've been pastoring for several years now. And one of the passages that I take, can we talk about the Bible a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I want to get in trouble tonight.
Linda is always preaching to me all the time.
Praise the Lord.
That's
so one
what
of
I
the passages that I love to take couples to is Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27, where it says, and God says, it's not good. 26, 27, he said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness, right? And then it talks about let them have dominion and all that. Verse 27 is where he really makes the distinction. It says, so God made man in his image. He said, in the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. And so one of the things that we try to help couples understand is, number one, we are created equal in the eyesight of God. Now, our roles are different, but our value, the value that we bring to the relationship is exactly the same. There are no big I's and little U's, right? But at the same time, we're different. And he makes the distinction. Male and female, he created them. Which means because we're different, and Dr. Love, you hit on it, right? We see things differently. We hear things differently. We are wired differently. We have different roles in the relationship. And so when you think and expect your man to think like you do, or your woman to think like you do, that's where we have disconnect. But when we can understand that we come to the table, we're wired differently, we hear things differently, we see things differently,
we speak differently,
right? But at the same time, our hearts are in the right place, right? And I know Michelle will kind of piggyback off of that a little bit. Then we can avoid kind of some of the misinterpretation that happens in those communications when we talk about love and we talk about commitment and all of those things. So I think that's one of the first building blocks that you need to build the relationship on, is making sure that you understand that because we're different, we are wired differently, we will hear things differently, see things differently, speak differently, but we're in it together. So we had to figure out how to work through that. You want to jump in right there?
Yeah, actually what I was going to say is I just think you guys need to change your perspective. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Well, this is the thing. I think you can, love is just one word. It's many words. Intimacy, right? We can talk about that. We can talk about transparency. I mean, it's a lot of words that we can talk about where we will have different ideas of what the definition or the meaning of that word is. Quite frankly, I think it's up to the couple. I think that's something that couple should discuss. What does love mean to you? Because it is a strong word, and it's something that you don't want to just toss around haphazardly, because it does mean a lot more to some people than others. Like, you don't know if that person doesn't have, if their parents are no longer with them, and you may be that only family member that they feel like they have, and then you say, I love you to that person. Well, that may have a lot more weight to it to a person like that than it would be to somebody who has a plethora of people in their family, and love is something that's easily said and easily done. You know what I'm saying? So I just think couples should discuss that and define that for their own relationship.
Right. So you saying discussion. Everything comes back to discussion. You know, because if somebody say, I love you, now I'm learning, because I learned from the doctor of love. I'm learning that, what kind of love are you talking about? Mm-hmm. How deep is that love? How far is that love going to go? You know, what is this love going to mean? You know, what does it mean to you? And what does it mean to me? So until we come together and figure that out and get to that happy medium, we ain't going to make it, you know, and it comes down to respect. You know, respect her and you respect him. So at the end of the day, that's what it comes to. What you got? What's your thoughts, Linda?
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, what we're talking about when we say love, you know, love is like, I would say love is this energy ball, and it has all of these strings of attributes that dangle from it. Okay. And so, like, if you say you love someone, maybe in your heart, to some degree, you do. But then perhaps the way you were taught what love means to you or what it means to exhibit love, you could be swinging from something that's not even in the fruit of love at all. And I always think about the fruit of the spirit. That's how I see love in Galatians 5:22-23. That's
Mhm.
the fruit of the spirit. And it tells us very clearly that love is kind, is patient, like being in the spirit of God. Where in First Corinthians, it talks about what love is. The
Right.
greatest description you will ever hear of love. It talks about love being long suffering, being kind, being charitable. It gives. Like to be in a relationship and say you love someone and then you're stingy. Is that an attribute of love? Absolutely not. And then if you go down that list, love gives. It places one before itself. It doesn't give to get back. So when we start talking about love, I think that people don't understand what it means to love someone. And when you think about it, most of our experiences of love was first shaped and conditioned in our childhood.
Right.
And when you couple that along with any form of trauma that people have experienced throughout, or maybe just some emotional or mental health needs. Now, I'm in the mental health field.
Right.
These are the very elements that prevent people from loving and to being able to love and what it really means. One time we were on one of your shows, Stephen, and then one of the things that comes up often in domestic violence is the fact that some people really feel it's love for someone to lord over them and abuse them and make them do things. And they call that love. Well, they're giving me attention. So what are you seeking? What are you after? And I think that love has truly been misconstrued with an emotion and internal needs that people have. Like, I love you if I'm in a position whereby I can't meet back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, my simple basic needs, housing, food, clothes, shelter, then I'm going to love the person who could give it to me. Now, it may not be real love in terms of my knowing how to reciprocate love, but it's love to me that they would do these things for me, regardless to how they're treating me. So when we start looking at love, or does love just mean sex? Now we know in the vernacular coming up, guys grow up and they mature. But in the eyes of guys, and I can remember in my teens hearing, "Well, if you love me, you'll do it."
Well, of course.
So that's
Of course, right? That's
yeah,
from a man. Yeah. That's it.
but that is not love, because usually after he gets it, especially at that age, he's gonna run off to try to get the next one. So that's not love. So how do we define love in our head? It's a good discussion that everyone needs to have.
Well, you
Ooh.
mentioned something. I'm gonna come back because I'm gonna forget. You mentioned
Mm-mm.
something
Go,
earlier.
go.
So when you spank your kids, when you spank your child, are you spanking them out of love because you love them? I'm asking the ladies.
Well, I
Who
put it.
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You right?
Didn't
For
laugh.
real,
What you
for real.
talking about?
I'm just saying that if we're speaking in general. We're not speaking to nobody on here. But when people
Nobody does it.
spank their child, are they spanking them because they
you know
love them?
what? I think out of what we were taught with loving our children is why we did those things. That's what I
Mhm.
think. And children were abused. They were not spankings, by the way. They were whippings that would send someone to jail. Now, when I hear grown-ups talking about adults saying, "Or my parents didn't play, we got beat with whatever they can get their hands on,"
Oh
that
yeah.
is not, So one of the things, I was never a spanker, and I have 5 adult children, okay, and they'll tell you I wasn't one for beating, because this is me, and even based on some research, that punishment will bring rewards up until the time there is a dissipation of fear, like a fear of the punishment. When I no longer fear what you're going to do to me, I don't care if you beat me, whatever you do, I'm going to do what I want. That's what you are promoting through beating people into discipline, into correction. So discipline, what I learned is to discipline someone carries the Greek word for disciple, means to disciple. So to disciple someone means to teach. So through teaching my sons, I didn't have to, and I talked about the freedom of choices. Choices bring, there are the natural laws of consequences will take care of itself. So me personally, I don't feel beating is necessary, but I know everyone doesn't feel that way, but I
said
believe
spanking. I didn't say beating. I said spanking.
Well, spanking is
There's a
one thing.
difference.
Do you spank 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds, or what do you do with those? I see like a 1 or 2-year-old when you're trying to in the early stages of training them, where you may tap, no, don't touch that. But now when you get past that and you're getting switches, belts, and extension, whatever they beat children with, that's not discipline. I'm sorry.
Right. Okay, let's go back to Michelle.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. I think it is very much learned behavior. It's what we saw. So that's what, like Linda said, it's people who, would say that's what happened to me. So that's what I'm doing to my children. It's learned behavior.
Okay.
Right. And that doesn't necessarily make it okay. But the thing that I found was more effective, because we have 4 children, and our youngest is 15 now. And then we have a 20-year-old, a 21-year-old, and a 24-year-old. And what I found is that there's no level of consciousness there. You have to work with your children to show them. To me, love is teaching them what was wrong about what they did, so they can make a better choice later. The whooping or the beating or the spanking, that just teaches fear. Fear my parent. Fear the repercussions of what's coming, but that does nothing about the level of consciousness as to why would you do something like that, and what are you thinking that would cause you to do that? To me, I just don't think physicalness with your children is an expression of love. And also, I think when we were growing up, man, you spilled a cup of water or milk and you got to be down. Like, come on, that's excessive. You know what I mean?
Sometimes you got a beat down or beaten. You didn't even know what you were being beaten for, and you're trying to act like you know what you did. No, please just explain it to me, please.
Yes, it's also a form of laziness. Instead of, it's also a form of laziness. You don't want to sit your child down, take the time to speak with them and tell them what they did wrong. You just pick that belt up and get them.
And let's take that even a step further. They just don't know how. They're doing what their parents did, and now here we are, the next generation doing the same thing.
Exactly.
Right.
Hey, Donna King said, you back in the days, you used to have to go get your own switch.
Oh yeah, you had to pick your own switches.
Yeah, it was a trip.
Which,
so
while we agree, I got to jump in right there. I know you want to keep the conversation moving, but
this is your show. This is your show now.
Laziness, that shows up in parenting, and how many times have we seen laziness show up in marriages? And why marriages have difficulty, because, and you said it on the front end, Steve, that, this is work, right? 26 years of dealing with anybody, is work.
Exactly.
Right.
It's work.
And it's like, okay, you can't be lazy and have a great anything. Right. But I think a lot of times we just expect marriage to just kind of happen. And so when we talk about love and the difference between how, men see love, how women see love, here's one thing that I've learned is that love has layers. Right. So the way I love Michelle at 26 years of marriage is totally different than the way I loved her, year one or while we were dating. Right. There is such a deeper appreciation for the woman that she is, the mother that she is, the nurturer that she is, and
The
even
businesswoman that she is.
right, the
Look
business
out.
the boss that she is. And I work
Exactly.
for her. I work for her in the marriage coaching business, and so, but also, recognizing, hey, she's different than me. She doesn't think like I think. And early in our relationship, that was an area of contention. That was a space of frustration. But I have learned to love her through that, because I choose not to focus on where we're different. I choose to focus on where we vibe, where we connect, and just love her through the other stuff, because bottom line, I recognize that, I don't always do things the way God wants me to do it either, but he still loves me.
Right.
And that I'm commanded to love her biblically, as Sister Linda was talking about back in Ephesians. And he commands men to love. Notice you talk about respect, Steve. Notice God doesn't command a woman to love her husband.
Nope.
Because it's already, we talked about wiring. We're different, right?
He doesn't need to.
Right? Because it's innate in women to love and to nurture and to support. But men, he doesn't command men to respect. And notice that was the word that you used, Steve, because you're a man.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Because that just comes natural to us. That's how we're wired. We respect each other. But he had to command a man to love, because that doesn't come naturally to us. And so he says to you and me, Steve, you need to love that woman like I love the church, and literally gave myself for her, right? And so what does it look like for you to give of yourself? And you talked about that, Sister Linda, literally sacrificially. So we got to make sure we understand that love is not just a feeling. I'm not going to always feel like loving my wife the way she needs to be loved. But that doesn't mean that I don't do it. When I recognize that, love is not just when I feel like it,
right?
But love is also sacrificial. You do this because you love.
Mad or not.
And watch this. You do this because you have been loved.
Exactly.
Are y'all seeing that? See,
exactly. And that's important.
When you experience love, it puts you in position to demonstrate love. And that's where I think there has been such a breakdown, particularly in young marriages, that, this is based on the feeling. And I feel real good. Mm-hmm. But the moment I don't feel good, I made a mistake. I need to go do something else. I need to find the next person that makes me feel love.
Yeah. So what do you think, going down, thinking deep down, what is the hardest thing about love, and also being in love? I'm gonna start it with this: being in love and being loved. Love changes every year. You have to reinvent yourself to be in love with that woman or that man, because it changes all the time. But for you guys to make it 26 years, how did you guys deal with that change? Because back in the days, what was the song? It says 60-40 and a 70-30. I need a 50-50 love. Yeah. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There you go. You go. How did y'all work through that? Because I know sometimes it ain't never been 50-50.
It won't be, Stephen, because you can't measure love. Now we can talk about entering a partnership where there's 50-50 roles and responsibilities when it comes to duty, but there's no way you can measure 50-50 love. I know it's a song that we all fell in love with because we were all hungry for love, just trying to figure out how to get love back, So we subscribe to that belief that love is, there has to be a 50-50 love. I need to bring 100% of
come on.
Relationship. 50 and 50 is just one whole person, but whole people are engulfed, they embrace, they are embedded with the gems of love, compassion, giving. Baby, what can I do for you today to make you smile?
Preach.
And it's independent of what he does. So you can't measure love.
I love that, Linda. Look, speaking of love,
Exactly.
I love that. That's so on point.
Yeah.
One of the things that you talked about, Steve, is the up and down, but really that's seasons. That's called seasons. Just like we have winter, spring, summer, fall. In your marriage, you have seasons. You have high seasons. You have low seasons. You know, when they talk about the pollen count and everything, you have high pollen count, then you have low pollen count. Low pollen count means you're doing well. High pollen is, I'm allergic to him right now. I'm allergic.
Right.
You know,
Right.
But this is the thing. It's called staying the course, because when you stay the course, a beautiful thing happens. You know what that is?
It
Maturity. What'd you say, Steve? What'd you say?
I said it blossoms.
It does.
Yeah, just like you said.
But it blossoms on the stem of maturity.
Yeah.
It only blossoms on the stem of maturity, because at year 1, like Ray said, we were totally different than we are at year 26.
Yeah.
At year 1, we were pointing fingers and judging each other. At year 10, we were probably still doing that, you know.
Yeah.
But here we are at year 26 because we stayed the course, because we had the patience and the commitment and the discipline and all the other things that we needed that's listed in 1 Corinthians, which is long suffering, by the way, to stay the course, to accept each other, you know, and our shortcomings, because we all have shortcomings.
Exactly.
And to work through those things together as a team versus looking at somebody for fault or blame. No, we're a team. We're in this together. And one of the things that I always tell my wives is, we swim, we sink, we sail, we soar, but we do it together. We should do it together with our spouse. And the one way that you can ensure the togetherness is through transparency and communication.
Right. And I like what you said, Michelle, about maturity being the foundation, that fundamental thing that says, you know, that you watch your love grow. I don't think that love changes in terms of its definition. I think what we do with love is that we have been so conditioned to believe that love is about the erotic portions of love. And if I don't feel erotic toward you, then I'm not in love with you anymore. And I need to find someone that makes me feel erotic. You know, that feeling that I had when I was young, I'm trying to revert back to that. But if we look at life for what it is, you know, in terms of the dimensions of love, and if you go back to the Greek philosophy, it talks about the 4 types of love. And what I say to people, whether you're storge love, you know, like eros love, philia love, you know, toward your friends, you know, storge toward your family, the eros that you have toward your wife, your husband. At the core of all of that, there has to be agape love. Because if there's not agape love, which is unconditional love, you want to experience the other love at the levels that you could. It's agape love that helps us to be long-suffering, patience toward one another, giving when we don't want to make the sacrifice. And I always say it this way: if your love never requires a sacrifice of you, I don't know if you could call that love.
Right.
Sacrifices that you're willing to make for another person. That's
they say, hey, the saying is, you ain't never been in love if you ain't contemplating killing your husband or your wife.
Not sacrificing yourself, sacrificing the other person.
I'm gonna read the comments.
Read some comments, but first, if y'all on here, I want y'all to hit love, like, and share it with everybody, and let us know where y'all from. I want you to put in the comments where y'all from. Go ahead.
Okay, so we started out with hey Steve, please keep this going, man. So much good love and relationship info for everyone. On down later, I hear Cheryl's. Oh, she just said good evening to everyone. Miss you too, Cheryl. Miss all of you guys.
Hey,
and hello to Ray and Michelle. And comments like communication and maturity, those are things they're picking up. Jim picked up that read. Donna picked up the truth, whatever was stated in there. Natural law of consequences, probably when we were talking about the children, something that stood out. Past that, Cheryl, if you looked wrong, and also the spanking built up, still talking about parenting. And then, Cheryl, marriage is like having a job. We are two different people trying to come together and learn and love each other. You say I do 10 different times cause people change.
Yeah.
You say I do 10 different times. Don was applauding something. And John, what advice would you give single men who juggle multiple women for sex about the value of love? Oh my God. I think you guys should handle that
itself.
Yeah, but were you going to make a comment before we get to that question, Michelle? Let me see. Michelle, did you want to make a comment before going to that question?
Oh, no. I think this is great. Let's go in. Let's dig in.
Okay, let's address John's question. What advice would you give single men who juggle multiple women for sex about the value of love? I look for little boys to do that. Grown men should be doing that more.
Yeah. You're not a man.
I would say,
say that, Steve.
This is a saying that I heard one of my brothers say in the ministry that I thought was so profound. Boys like to play house, but real men build houses.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. And so, John, whoever this friend is of yours or friends,
comment.
They really, it is about maturity. It is about recognizing that, these are people whose hearts and bodies that you're literally playing with. And, it's not a game to play with people's hearts and their lives and their emotions. You could literally damage somebody. I mean, we talked about the trauma, Sister Linda, right? And I don't think we as men take that seriously. And then also, we talked about, the value. I don't think we value women enough when we treat them like that. They're not just objects for our pleasure, right? I got daughters, bro.
3.
And so we just have to start looking at, our women, our females with the same value that our Lord and Savior does, and hopefully shift our mentality as it pertains to the awesome opportunity and responsibility that God gives us to handle, our women with care. What does the Bible say? It says, care for the woman as she is the weaker vessel. Not that she is weak, right? But it just is speaking of the opportunity that we have to pour into and nurture and help build and develop another person who physically is weaker than us, biologically. But we have the opportunity to help them be all that they can be as they help us be all that we can be. And so that's what I would say. We have to help him see women differently and treasure them and value them for the jewels and the treasure that they are and what they bring to the space.
Love that response. John, I hope you guys who are on here taking notes, share it with share this information. Yeah.
Come on. Hey, Ray is my Hall of Famer, bro. He don't even know that I look up to him, and ever since I met him, he's just been, well, that might sound kind of funny, but he's been my guy. I watched him, and man, I love you, man. I just love seeing you every time you come to the choir. I know I might see you only once a year, but I look up to you. I'm like, God dang, that's the man of God right now. You know what I'm saying? And you know how you just see somebody from afar and you just watch them. There's people watching you, bro. I'll tell you. There's people watching you. And I tell people that all the time. I say, you got to be careful what you say and what you do around your kids.
That's right.
They watch it.
Right.
They watch it. So you still got people watching you. You still have fans, bro.
My brother. Yeah. Michelle wanted to jump in on this as well.
Yeah. So first of all, whoever John may be referring to, there's obviously a gap there, right? There's something that's unfulfilled in him that he's trying to fulfill in the wrong way through sexual encounters with women. Maybe, and it really is an ego thing, which we all have problems with our ego, but that's an ego thing too. But I want to kind of put John over to the side over here, his comment over here, because I really do want to advocate for men a little bit about sex, if that's okay, Dr. Love.
Hey, this y'all show. This is y'all show. This is
right
our
ahead.
show.
Go right
This
ahead.
is our show. This is our platform. So y'all
Awesome.
run things.
And I really want to hear what you guys have to say about this as well. But this is the thing that I've come to know in marriage and dealing with the couples that we serve is sex is important to men in relationships.
Hallelujah.
Oh, yeah.
It is. And really, if we really think about it, it is an outward expression of love for them. Mm-hmm. It really is. And I don't want to negate that fact just because this guy is using it inappropriately. But within the institution of marriage, it's a good thing. It's a great thing. And we have to be careful as women because, quite honestly, I feel like women prefer quality over quantity when it comes to sex. Most women prefer quality over quantity, but men prefer quantity. You know, most men, not all men are alike, not all women are alike. So please don't beat us up in the comments. But but the point is that when we talk about sacrifice, I also think that's a space where we can both sacrifice. There's ways that I want Ray to love me that are not natural to him or not easy for him or not something that he always wants to do. But at the same time, he knows in order to love me correctly, those are the things that he needs to do. Well, the same thing goes for sex with men. And I just don't want to neglect that on this episode as we talk about the inappropriate ways of using sex. Let's talk about the appropriate ways too. Within it's undefiled. The bed is undefiled in marriage, y'all. Look, so we should be definitely enjoying that to the fullest, but also making sure that our tanks are full in that area. Just like I need Ray to fill my love tank, he may need me to fill his sex tank, and we got to be okay with that. Look, and while I'm talking so loud, I wonder if my 15-year-old could hear.
Hey, they probably know more than you.
Michelle, to piggyback on something that you said, you may have heard there's something called EFT for emotional focused therapy. Yeah. And EFT is about how do we minister to emotions, because emotions bring about feeling that provokes erotic desires. And since
I like where you're going.
Okay. So because, you know, like sex is supposed to be a pleasurable experience, not someone dreading doing it or doing it out of obligation. Mm-hmm. So if we're going to enrich our life with these, you know, with great sexual experience, we have to learn how to tend to each other before we get to that place. I think it was Bishop Jake says one time that love making start from the moment you open your eyes in the morning and plant your feet on the floor. Yeah. You make love throughout the day. You build up toward that moment of evening where there's no question about being tired, because a great man who knows how to satisfy his woman emotionally so that he can get what his pleasure, he's going to make sure there are times he's going to take care of everything so she can be rested, have that bath going for her. I heard someone talk about a fruit bath, rose bath, whatever one you want.
Fruit bath. Oh, that's something.
The freak coming out in Linda.
You know.
The freak coming out in Linda.
So, because I'm making a point. Imagine, I mean, in terms of the chemicals in the brain, the dopamine.
Yes.
The adrenaline. Imagine what you provoke in her when that happens. Like, wow. You know, and vice versa for women. There are things that we do that, and I know some women say, well, I don't need to give him any help. But if you're feeling disconnect in your relationship and that the eroticism of your relationship is vanishing, it's because you're turning your relationship into a roommate or partnership. experience, and it shouldn't be that way, you know. And there's so many great benefits. I was talking about it once before about how it, you know, sex is good for your immune system. You want to stay healthy?
That's right. Have sex.
Sex is good for everything. You know what I'm saying? It'll cure that rash.
You know, and if you have a low libido, anything you practice gets stronger. You build your libido that way.
Yeah.
You know, so there are so many improves women's you know, bladder control, you know, your blood pressure, lowers your blood pressure, counts as exercise, you know, lowers your heart rate and heart risk, you know, lessen your pain. There are a lot of benefits.
Ladies, listen, ladies, listen.
That's right.
It does all this to you, for you.
Yeah, a lot of benefits to it. So, but it's about creating the environment for the experience that it can be enriched.
Yes.
So two things there. Two things there. Number one, to your point, Sister Linda, one of the things that we like to teach couples is the physical relationship should be about, hear me clearly, everybody, mutual sexual satisfaction.
Absolutely.
Right? And so what really excites particularly women coming into that space is that, you know, we talk about serving one another. A woman wants to feel like she's going to be served in the bedroom just like you serve her outside of the bedroom. If I was in church, I'd have got an amen.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah. And so this is majorly important. And I found that, not to, you know, crack open the door in our room.
Preach.
Yeah. When I have shifted to make sure that my wife is the focus when we enter into that space, it is amazing how many more opportunities present themselves when she feels like she is going to be served rather than being the one who's doing the serving.
Michael, Ray, can I give you an amen right about now?
Amen. Hey,
yeah.
That's what
here's the second thing that I think is very important. Second thing that's very important is we don't want to do things to get things. Is this making sense? We're talking about love, right? Mm-hmm. Love is supposed to be, you know, the joy that I get from seeing you blessed and satisfied and served, right, should be the motivation behind why I do what I do.
That's love.
So right. So it's what is it? It's giving without the expectation of getting anything in return. That's that agape love, Sister Linda, that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And see, women know when they're being loved and when they're being manipulated. And it's a thin line.
Or being taken
right.
Something right now.
Yeah. Yes. It's a thin line between, you know, love and, you know, trying to manipulate somebody or doing to get, right?
Yes.
And so hopefully we can kind of make sure that, you know, our motivation in this space is, I'm going to love my husband. I'm going to love my wife. And my reward is, you know, seeing them happy, seeing them blessed, knowing that I am doing exactly what they want and need me to do to fill their love tank. And then whatever comes back from that, that's just gravy on top of the sundae.
Yes.
You know, but my job, and you said it earlier, Sister Linda, is my responsibility is to bring my 100% to the space, right? I cannot control what happens on the other side, but the good thing about, and especially for men, hear this, and I'm gonna shut up for a minute. Because of the way I told you we wired differently, right? Because of the way women are wired, when you serve your woman and you give to your woman and you pour into your woman, you are planting a seed.
Yes.
Now, women by design are incubators.
Yes.
And so when you put into a woman, you pour into a woman, you plant that seed of love and patience, and kindness and all of that, right? Gentleness, all of that, right? then she takes that seed, she incubates that seed, and she gives you 7 times more
Bam.
And what you
than you give her.
That's the difference. That's the difference.
You can't just give a woman anger and disrespect and all of that. She gonna take that seed.
Yes.
And she gonna multiply that seed.
Yes.
Right.
Because it's 7 times coming right back at you.
Exactly. Exactly. Ray, you know what you're talking about now? One of the things I talk about too is that the universe, I don't care how much you love God, how much you say you love whoever, whatever. The universe is driven by principles and laws that governs the universe. And so there's the law of reciprocity that says whatever you put out is what you get back in.
That's right.
And I don't understand people who are expecting so much love but never putting it out. You have to sow seeds of whatever it is you want. And when you're pouring into something or to your spouse, and in this case here with women being incubator, a man can get anything he wants from a woman. Most men can get what they want from a woman when they disrespect her because her emotional needs are so high. So, you pour into the vessel that you love. And I can assure you, you're going to get love back. You want romance? Be romantic,
Be romantic. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And one of the things that we practice is asking.
Yeah.
What do you need? You know what I'm saying?
What you want.
Exactly. That's important.
Because early in our marriage, we would give either what we wanted from that person or what we thought they needed.
They wanted. Yep.
What about what we thought they deserved? You don't deserve.
That's a whole nother level right there. Yeah.
Yes.
That,
You touching on something, Linda.
Right.
You touching on something. You get too deep for me.
Yeah. What they deserve. You don't deserve this, so I'm just going to do that, or I'm not going to do that.
Exactly.
And we all praying you're not there, because that contentment will take your marriage out. That level of contentment will take your marriage out. But if you want to avoid getting to that place, you'll ask. It's a simple technique. Babe, what can I do for you right now? Because one of the things we did was we took, I don't know, are you guys familiar with the love languages?
Oh yeah, touch is mine.
Yeah.
Touch me and it's over. It's over.
So when you walk in the door, if your wife just give you a big hug, you just gonna melt, huh?
It's only popping.
I actually give these out to couples that I meet with. I give them that because that's kind of like the start of really
what is that?
figuring out what's going on.
I love languages book.
I give
okay, I see it.
I give it out.
I got it.
To couples.
Yeah.
But
it's so important because like when we're back to the seasons, right? So we are in a different season of life because our kids are older. But when our kids were younger and having 4, Linda, my love language was acts of service. Okay. When you get home, I need you to help.
I need help.
It's a 911 emergency. Yes. I'm over here like I don't know if I'm alone. You know what I'm saying? And so if he came home because he's been working hard and busting his butt, which I totally understood, and he just kicked his legs up and put his arms behind his head and said, "Serve me, woman," I would have a problem with that. That would be very difficult for me because my tank would be like low after serving 4 children all day.
And basically
very unloving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically what is happening in there is everyone is so busy with duties that you're forgetting to attend to one another.
Yes.
Forget that the foundation of our family, the prosperity of this company that we created, because that's what home is.
Right.
It's based on how we care for each other. And that means these 2 people must put themselves first and they can be better parents, better co-workers or business owners or whatever it is they're doing. But quickly, because I just noticed the time and I want to talk about engage our audience with some of their comments here. Okay. Let's see. Donna said, I'm treading lightly here. But doesn't a woman recognize when she's not being valued or loved versus simply being used for a physical encounter? Well, of course she recognizes that. Some do. It depends.
Some do and some don't.
parental needs, if she recognizes it. I'll put it that way. She should. What do you say, Michelle?
Yeah, definitely. But I also think it depends on how she was raised, what she experienced, learned behavior. Like if she saw her mom maybe taking that, then maybe that's now her idea of love. That's what she thinks real love looks like. But that's a false idea of love. You have to be careful and really as individuals. And this is where I've been going with a lot of my couples. I feel like self-growth is imperative. In fact, if you're not working on yourself, your marriage is probably not growing either.
Exactly.
Because it's what you bring to the table. It's your 100. And if you're not working on your 100 every day, a percentage is probably going down.
Michelle, I always say the omelet is as good as the eggs.
Ooh, come on. Yes.
If it's a bad omelet, it's because they're probably bad eggs. Okay. And you can
right. Okay, we have 5 minutes left, and like Pam always tells me to let my guests speak because we ain't no telling when we're gonna see you guys again.
Well,
go ahead.
I have an important comment or question from one of your guests there who wanted to know, said, ask your mate how the relationship is going. Is what Rhonda said. How,
from my sister. Yeah, communication. She said she's speaking of communication.
And Donna said that her question was in relation to the guy who had multiple physical relationships, but asked about the value of love. Oh, okay. I think those are all the topics. Not if the man is deceiving her until he gets what he wants.
That ain't a man. We already went over that. He's not a man if he has to do some kind of trickery. Come on, man. You're a boy. You playing a man's game. That's boy stuff. I don't even like speaking on that because I know a lot of guys out there that's like that, and that ain't cool.
I like to say it like this, because any dude, it's light work to just kind of have, random girls that you just kind of, doing this with and doing that with, but it takes a dude, and guys think they got game when they can do that. But to me, real game is when you can have one woman that you can still make swoon after 30 years of marriage than just some because you got to come correct, because she done seen it all, heard it all, been with you through the ups and downs. Yeah. And if you can still make her heart skip a beat when you walk into the space 30 years later, that's real.
Yeah, and let me add, this is what I wanted to say, Linda, when you asked me. I don't look at marriage as a job. Man, if I'm gonna look at it in that vein, I would say it's a career. Because to me, a job is something you go to that you're not really happy with. I look at it as an opportunity. I get to love this man next to me.
Exactly.
I get to love my children. It's an honor, it's a privilege, it's a pleasure, and it should be. Now, that doesn't mean sometimes it's not tough or difficult. You know what I'm saying? But still, if you're in it for the long haul, when you have a career, that's something you want to do for the rest of your life. Well, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Well, in other words, as they say, when you do as your career, if you do what you enjoy doing, you never have to work another day.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
It's the same way when it comes to love, your relationships. When you're doing it out of love as opposed to obligation, obligation makes you feel that you have to do things you don't want to do because you feel obligated and guilty when you want. No one wants the guilty feel of love. Take that down. Bury guilt. You can't love a person out of guilt. You can't love them out of fear. You have to love people from a space of purity. Not expecting anything in return because you choose to be a vessel of love. Well, I tell you, it's been wonderful.
That's it. So I want to thank y'all for coming out to the Dr. Love. We here every Friday night, and I would love to have you guys back out for another conversation with another topic because you guys are a beautiful couple. I look up to y'all. Now I'm looking up to you, Michelle. So
hey, and
you guys,
see, I just
understand.
mentioned if they want to look for us, we're at aimmarriages.com. aimmarriages.com. aimarriages.com.
Y'all making marriages happen.
Yay.
That's right. That's right.
So
we had a great time tonight, guys. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, we love y'all. Linda, do what you do. Go ahead and tell them where they can find you once again.
Okay. Again, you can find me on Facebook, Love and Relationship Matters with Linda, or just Linda Hart Streeter, and also at lindahartstreeter.com.
All right. Hey, we love you too, Rhonda. That's my sis. Bye, Cheryl. Y'all, and we out. Y'all don't hang up. Y'all don't hang up. Don't go anywhere. We signing off, and we see you guys every Friday night at 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I'll see you guys next week, and share and like. We love y'all. Later.